Hi pals, I hope you're all well. Today I'm starting a new reading vlog. It's the weekend, I'm having a lovely chilled weekend at home and thought it was time to start a new reading vlog. And this month I really wanted to do something quite fun. It's my birthday month and next week is my birthday week, and I'm looking forward to kind of celebrating and doing some stuff just for me to kind of indulge myself. And I thought it'd be fun to choose my books this month a little bit differently as well. I'm not sure I'll do this all month, probably just for a week or two, but I thought it'd be fun to choose my books via a TBR game. And if you didn't know, in September Bookoplathon is happening, which is based around Becca from Becca and the Books TBR game Bookopoly, which is based on a Monopoly board. And it always looks fun, and I thought it would be really fun to take part and just kind of try a TBR game. I've always been kind of curious to try one, but I haven't ever got around to it, I guess. And I'm also not really the best at sticking to like a strict TBR, so my plan is to roll and choose a book based on the prompt that the Bookopoly board gives me, and then read the book, and then when I'm ready for my next one, repeat the process, roll, choose a book, etc. Trying to think how else I've kind of changed things. So I don't have a printed board, so I'm using the electronic board. So I'll have to kind of find a way to show you that, which is like kind of still fun to see. And what else? I've got these prompts rather than having chance and community chess, sort of the strict. I can't remember what it was that was suggested you do for those ones. I think it was that you chose books that you weren't really that interested in, possibly. But what I've done is I've just made these kind of like a prompt jar of kind of book prompts, and I'll just choose one because I'm not very good at being told to read a book. Like if I forced myself to read a particular book, I'm not very good at it. I would just like go into a total slump. So I thought I'll bend the prompts to suit myself when they come up. But yes, I'm very excited. I've got lots of things kind of ready and looking forward to seeing what my books are. It's also, as I say, my birthday week next week, so probably in this vlog there will be little bits of birthday stuff and like little moments of me celebrating maybe, or just little things, doing lots of things for myself, like just kind of fun, nice things I enjoy doing. My partner has a plan to take us away, so I'm not sure, or I think that's what it is. I've got to be free at the weekend, so I'm not sure exactly, but I'm guessing that it's something nice like that. So I'm looking forward to whatever that is, but that might feature in this vlog. But yeah, looking forward to it, and I'm just going to get in with it and start with my first roll, and yeah, I'm excited. So for my first roll of the dice, I landed a 4, and that takes me to TBR Vet, which is quite a daunting one for me, because usually if they've been on my TBR for a long time, it's kind of like maybe I've like outgrown the book, maybe I won't really like it anymore, maybe I won't want to read it anymore. There are very few physical books on my TBR that I've had on my physical TBR for a while here in Iceland, because they're probably still all sat back in Scotland, those kind of really long lasting TBR vets. The longest one that I can think of on my TBR here is The Body Keeps the Score, which is a non-fiction book all about trauma, and I've tried to read this before, but it's just really heavy going, and I don't feel like it's the right time for me to read this just now, so I'm not reading this one for sure. But I'm not against reading another non-fiction. I just think the topic of that is just a little bit too dark for me. So I scoured the shelves, but there wasn't really anything there that would be suitable, I didn't think. And so I looked on Goodreads and my want to read shelf, and I categorised by date added to the want to read shelf, and one of the longest ones, so the longest one is still that one apparently, although I only started using Goodreads in like 2018, so it's not probably representative of my actual physical or Kindle TBR. But nevertheless, the book that came up when I did that was a book called This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay, and it's a non-fiction memoir. It's meant to be quite funny, quite light, but at the same time actually talking about some really heavy topics like the NHS underfunding and the impact that has on doctors and medical professionals, and both in professional environment and in their home life. And I've heard it's funny, I've heard it's like he's got really like a good way of presenting things. It's very, very hyped. So I'm not sure if I will love it or not. You won't know until you start reading it, of course. But yeah, that's my first pick for the Bookoplathon TBR, and I'm curious to see what I will think about it when I pick it up.
My Heart Beats, Dorothy Coomson. August 2020.
I interrupt this nice baking montage because we don't have any flour, so I've had to don my new coat, which I'm very happy with, but I have to don that and go out and get some flour, which is not ideal in any stretch of the imagination. I was hoping to have a nice calm day at home, but here we are. Anyway, at least I can listen to my audiobook on the go, and yeah, hopefully have some banana bread when I get back. But yes, this will resume once I have the flour. Okay, I'm back, and you can imagine this is why I didn't want to venture out, because I couldn't bother to wash my hair when I got back. I was trying to avoid washing my hair every day, but being out and about, I just tend to come home and just make sure I'm properly cleaned and no germs are coming into the house and stuff like that. So yes, I'm back to baking. I'm just like, yeah, I'm glad the stuff hasn't quite spoiled, but now my kind of baking mojo has gone a little bit, but hey ho, I'll get going with it and get the banana bread baked so I can at least enjoy eating it with a nice cup of tea. Okay, so I'll be honest, I have started, this is going to hurt, but I just really am not vibing with it. Like, I can see why people might be really into it and like might get really kind of drawn in and hooked and all the rest, but for me it's just, it's not really doing it for me. I find the author, like his voice, authorial voice, quite irritating, quite judgmental at times, and I'm just not really enjoying it. I'm not really connecting with it at all, so I'm decided to abandon it. I got just under 10% of the way through, so maybe it gets better in terms of like the things that are kind of grating on me. I know that it's hugely hyped, so clearly there is a lot of love for the book out there, but it's time for me to choose my next book, because I am definitely of the mindset that you should never continue a book that you're not enjoying, or at least that you can't see a possibility that you'll enjoy, because I just personally feel like life's too short. There's no way in my lifetime I will be able to read all the books I want to read. So if I start a book that at one point I wanted to read and it no longer is something I'm enjoying or whatever, I just think life is too short to read something you're not enjoying. Such a big commitment reading a book as well, like time commitment and energy and all the rest of it. So why do that, all of that, for something you're not enjoying? That's my mindset. So onward and hopefully upward with this next one. So with my last go on Bookopoly, I was using my phone and my iPad, and just now I basically couldn't bother to disinfect my phone when it came out, once I'd been out. So it's still sitting in like our fake quarantine in our house. So I'm using my iPad for both the dice roll and the board, so it might be a bit awkward on the camera, but I'm going to do it just now anyway, and yeah, we'll see what I get for my next book. Okay, so with that roll I managed to get I rolled a 7 and I landed on hyped, which is tricky because I don't read a whole lot of hyped books. I was looking at my shelf to see if there was anything there, but I couldn't really see anything that I thought kind of fit that properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto Goodreads and look at my want to read shelf again, but this time organise it by how many people have read it, how many ratings it's had. So let's try that just now and see how we get on, see what comes up. Right, okay, some of these I have maybe read or unhauled, so I'm not really sure. None of these are really saying anything to me that I want to read them particularly. The thing is, at the moment, I'm kind of in a funny reading mood. I'm not really sure what I'm in the mood for. So, let's see. I could read Life After Life. That's had a lot of ratings. I've just put that on a list of books I want to read before the end of the year. So it hits that one as well for me. That could be a good shout. Should I be reading it by the number of ratings or the highest rated? Yeah, I think the best option just now is probably to try that Life After Life book and see what I think of it. And then maybe from there see what comes next. I think that's probably what I'll do just now. Yeah, so my next choice is Life After Life. So what I know about this book is that it is about an individual who is reborn again and again and gets several chances to redo things. That's what I know. I think it has a kind of fate element to it, which I really like in books, and a kind of reincarnation, I guess, but not quite. Which is something I'm really interested in. So yeah, I'm not sure. It says, I mean, the tagline here is, what if you could live your life again and again until you got it right? It starts in 1910 and it follows a character called Ursula Todd, and it's all about her kind of infinite number of lives. So yeah, I'm curious to see if I will enjoy this. I think I might. From what I've heard people say, good and bad, I think it's kind of been put in my mind as like a 5-star prediction. So let's hope that is what this is for me. Yeah, and it's obviously got a lot of ratings and quite a lot of hype, I guess, around it. It's it's a bit of an older title, I think. Yeah, 2013, so it's a little bit backlist now. But yeah, it's got a lot of ratings and a decent average rating of 3.76. So I'll start that now and let you know how I get on. Hi pals, so I come to you on my birthday. I'm another year older and I thought I would share with you what I got for my birthday, just because why not, as part of this vlog. And yeah, I'll start with some of the pottery bits that I got, which my partner got me, and then some of the books I bought, not all of which have arrived, but most of which have. And then I also, I'll put a picture on the screen, I also got a nice bouquet of flowers delivered from Scotland from my parents, so that was very pretty. And yeah, I've been pretty spoiled for my birthday, so I thought I would show you all the nice bits that I got. So it might be easier if I sort of insert close-ups of these, because I'm not sure how much they'll come up on screen and be able to be seen, but this first piece is a nice piece of pottery that they're all from the same potterist, same ceramic artist, an Icelandic ceramic artist, and I'll put their details down below and stuff if you're interested. But this is like a really nice candle holder, and you can just kind of, like an old styly candlestick holder thing. We spent ages in the studio with the artist kind of talking about all the different pieces and like all the different ways that they've been thrown in the kiln and stuff like that. Really, really fascinating stuff. And this one, it's kind of like a fluke that it came out like this, but the artist was saying that she really enjoyed when people can see like little things in it that she maybe didn't see herself. And so in this, I kind of see like the black sand beaches and like the froth of the sea, and it kind of reminds me of like that kind of sea saltiness somehow, and like, I don't know, totally random, maybe nobody else sees that, but I thought it was really pretty, and it reminded me a lot of like the Icelandic nature kind of stuff. All of these pieces actually did in different ways. For example, this second piece reminds me a lot of Icelandic nature. It's gorgeous. It's actually got real kind of lava rock that was put in it before it went in the kiln, and it's just gorgeous, and the colouring is like a kind of pale white to yellowy colour, and then it blends into this sort of almost like a blue, and then into the black and brown at the bottom. But I love that kind of gradient of colour. I really like that. And it's just quite small, like it's quite short really. I'll put it next to my face for kind of measurement proportions. But I think it'll be really nice with like dried flowers or something in it. And I thought it might be perfect for on my bookcase, just like the perfect kind of height. So it'll be interesting to see if I'm able to find something nice to put inside it, but otherwise it's just a gorgeous piece. And the final piece is really interesting and unique, and I thought it was very pretty. It looks a little bit like some kind of an egg, like an animal's egg, which is such an unusual thing to say, but it's like this kind of speckled colouring with the sort of bare pottery ceramics on the bottom, and then a glazed top. And it's just like, it's not even got any kind of paint on the bottom of it, and then it's got a little bit of the kind of melding, I think it's just of where the glaze is, which at the top is more like a kind of pale colour, and it's all speckled with a sort of brown. I'm not sure if that's lava rock again, or if it's just a speckling that's come out. I can't remember if she said. Again, I thought this would be really nice with like a dried flower or something in it. I just thought it was gorgeous, and this might even go on the bookshelf as well. I haven't quite worked out where exactly I'll put them, even though they've been sitting in quarantine for a little while. We went together to buy them quite a few weeks ago now. I went to the artist studio and got to choose lots of pieces, so really nice experience, and obviously picked some really nice things which we both really like, which is good because they're going to be obviously in our home. So yeah, really pleased with those bits. And then I also got some books, so I wasn't sure whether or not to do a full book haul for these, but I just think that I might as well include them in this vlog. So my partner very kindly bought me 3 books, one of which is still in transit, so hopefully will arrive in the next couple of days, but I might share it on this vlog if I'm still vlogging by then. Probably will be, because the book I'm reading is quite a big one, so it's taken me a while to get through. I'll talk to you about that a bit more in a bit. But the first book that he got me was Small Bodies of Water by Mingya Powles, which I'm really looking forward to. Really excited about. I liked Mingya Powles' Tiny Moons, which is up here. And I really was curious to read her latest publication, Small Bodies of Water, but it's a hardback, so it felt like a real kind of luxury. So it was very kind of Chris to buy me it for my birthday. I'm very pleased. And he also bought me a graphic novel called Happily Ever After by Tung, which I've heard really nice things about. Sorry, I'm just putting that up there. Which I've heard really nice things about, and it's meant to be very cute and cosy and lovely about like a long-term relationship. And I'm really looking forward to it. But I've just been I always feel like buying graphic novels is just such a luxury, I guess. So it's just such a nice thing to be kind of treated to or bought as a present for you. It's really nice. So I'm really looking forward to that. Can't wait. And the third book that he bought me is like a mystery book, so one that he chose himself. So all the more excited to see what that is and find out what he bought me. And then at my last job, when I left, my employer gave me a voucher as a leaving gift, so I've spent that on these books as a little treat to myself. The first book is Duck Feet by Percy, which is a book written all in Scots. I'm really excited for it. I've been wanting to read it for ages, since it came out this year. I think it came out in like March or something. But I featured an excerpt of it in my blog about Scots writing you could read for free online, because there was a chapter excerpt that was published. So I thought there was like something on the book, but it's like a bird on the top of the building. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, I've wanted to read this since it came out, and I'm really looking forward to doing so. Another one, which is actually a continuation in a series, is A Game of Cones by Collette. I think by now my books, what's it called? Books I want to read before the end of the year should have been published. But if not, then spoiler alert, this is on that. And I bought it for myself because it was actually cheaper to buy the paperback than it was to buy the Kindle book, which never makes sense to me. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I read the first in the series via my library, and I wasn't sure if they would buy the second in, so when I saw it online, I just thought, oh, I'll get that for myself. I really enjoyed the first one. It was like a light, cosy mystery kind of book, so just what the doctor orders in the winter season. And then actually, I'm not sure if I should show you this third one because it might be a spoiler for a future video. Yeah, I don't think I should show you, but I'm working on an exciting project with some lovely booktubers and bookstagrammers, and one of the books kind of pops up in that context, so that should come out probably in the next sort of few weeks, hopefully, if I can get everything organised. But yeah, I've been spoiled rotten. I've had a really nice day so far. I've been working, to be fair, but I've had a really nice day. Chris bought us some pastries this morning for breakfast, which was lovely. And yeah, it's just been really nice to be kind of doted on, like, no, I'll make the lunch, no, I'll make the teas and coffees. So yeah, lovely. And this evening we're ordering a takeout. This weekend we're going to celebrate kind of in a bigger kind of style, I think. Chris has organised something which I think is like an overnight away somewhere, which is going to be really nice. Really looking forward to that. But yes, this tonight is more like chilled. We're going to have a takeout, we're going to relax and probably watch a film or something. So yeah, it's going to be really nice. I'm standing just now because I thought it would be easiest with all the things to show you, but I'll have a seat and talk to you a bit about the book I've been reading and my thoughts so far and all the rest of that. Okay, I've grabbed myself a wee seat. I mean, I say a seat, I'm sitting on the floor, but I'm still more comfortable than I am standing up with the camera. But yeah, I wanted to tell you about the book that I'm reading at the moment. So I got it for the Bookoplathon prompt hyped, and I'm kind of hoping that at the time this was released it was hyped, because it's had a lot of ratings on Goodreads, and it has a decent average rating. So I'm kind of hoping that it was hyped, but I wasn't active in the book community around that time. I think it was released in like 2014 or something. I don't even really know what like the hyped books were around about that time. Like, I was reading, but very, very occasionally, very sporadically, etc. So I'm hoping that this was at one time hyped, but I'm not actually certain that it was. So yeah, I'm going with it anyway. But I'm liking it. I'm about a quarter of the way through it. And it's quite a big book. I think it's about 600 pages, so that feels like quite an achievement. It's interesting because it's a bigger book, it's taking quite a while for it to kind of get anywhere, in the sense of like Ursula is like being born and then tragedies happen and she dies repeatedly and she relives things, and we're often like, she's died and we're taken back to a certain point in a certain place, and then she gets like another chance at it, and she often has this like deja vu feeling, like something's really bad here, like something bad's going to happen, and then she tries to do some kind of corrective action. Sometimes they're very successful, sometimes they're not successful, and she gets like chances and chances to keep doing the same bits. And sometimes when Ursula dies, we're taken to like the exact same place and time where she just was, and the scene is kind of repeated. And then other times we're kind of dropped, as if like you would drop kind of a player. I'm trying to think what that game is, where you pick up players and drop them. Hi pals, it's Editing Katie here. I wanted to share with you what the background of this clip is, so that you can laugh with me at myself in this moment, because after filming this clip I remembered what it is that I was referring to, and I was referring to Google Maps and the function where you can drop a little orange man into a street and then you're trying to work out where you are. But this clip is just so much funnier if you realise what I'm actually trying to refer to. And so I wanted to share it with you so that you can laugh along with me, who has watched this clip so many times and still gets a laugh out of it. So I hope you do too. Is it? No, it's not The Sims. There used to be a game, maybe it's back in the day, maybe it's very old school now, where you could pick up people and drop them in different places. I can't think for the life of me what this game is called now. It's totally gone out of my head, but there used to be a game where you kind of do that and then the person would just keep kind of going on. Maybe it was like an early version of The Sims or something. I'm not sure, but anyway. It's kind of has that kind of feel to it, like, oh, where am I? Right, okay. I'm not sure who these people are or like what's going on, but I'm here. And so it's kind of strange because every section that you're kind of dropped into, you're not sure how long you're going to be there, what the relevancy of it is. But what I think will happen is that as you go on and you get more and more of these little sections, things will start to make a lot more sense, I'm hoping, and things will start to kind of develop a rhythm maybe, or develop some kind of relevancy. I think that it's going to be interesting as well because it starts in 1910, that's when Ursula is born. And so she lives through like the Spanish flu, and she lives through, or the so-called Spanish flu, and she lives through the First World War so far. And I think it's going to be interesting as well when we get to the Second World War. At the start of the book, there's like a chapter that kind of introduces us to Ursula during the Second World War, and sounds like she has quite an interesting kind of job, perhaps. I'm not really sure yet, but I think that would be really interesting to see how that kind of develops, and all the rest of that. I think I'm really liking it so far. It's just kind of like, I'm not really sure what's going on. And with Kate Atkinson's writing, it's very like lyrical, and you're kind of swept along with it and with the pace of it. And sometimes I wonder if I've missed like details or something, or if I've kind of not retained key information because I've just been kind of going along with the story. But I guess that you know, that will come out if that's the case, and I might be confused later in the book, but there's only one way to find out. For now, I'm just kind of enjoying going with the story in whichever direction it goes and seeing what happens. I am liking it quite a lot, so I'll definitely be continuing, and just see what happens to Ursula and how her fate, like what her final fate is supposed to be, because I guess she's getting these kind of do-overs to relive sections because there's a certain like destiny or a fate that she's supposed to reach and supposed to maybe accomplish something or do something in particular, which leads to something else. I'm not sure. Only one way to find out, but I am really liking it. I'm in one of these moods where I kind of want to roll the dice on the Bookoplathon board again just to see what I would get, but I don't know why I feel like doing that, because I don't really want to read this alongside something else. I'm quite happy just reading it on its own, but for some reason I just have this kind of like, oh, I wonder what my next book will be kind of feeling. So yeah, I need to just park that just now. But in terms of other stuff that's going on, I've been not very well this week actually, even though it's my birthday and I'm kind of excited and happy it's my birthday. I haven't been too well, and I've worked from home a couple of days because I've had kind of coldy like symptoms, and I went to get COVID tested for the first time ever. I've never been COVID tested before, so that was a bit of a kind of weird experience, and I went to do that just to make sure that I hadn't picked up something, or you know, I wasn't going to pass it on. And it's not that I haven't got COVID, thank goodness, but yeah, just not been feeling 100%, and I've stayed working from home just to make sure I don't pass this cold on someone else, because I'm thinking I must have picked it up from someone else, if you know what I mean. So someone's left the house with a cold, and yeah, I mean, everyone has their own kind of thoughts and stuff, but I just feel like in this kind of time that we're living in, and hopefully it's a lesson we learn through COVID, that if you can do that and not bring a cold out into the world, and if you can work from home, or you have other options, then you should make use of them and not pass the cold on, because the worst feeling is having that kind of, oh, I've got a cold coming on here, is it COVID kind of thoughts. So my view is just stay home until the symptoms pass, and I feel a lot better today. Like as the day's gone on, this morning I didn't feel 100%, but as the day's gone on I feel a lot better, so hopefully I'll be able to go back in the office tomorrow, which will all be very interesting, see what everyone's been up to while I've been away. I'm still enjoying my job. I'm still finding I've had a wee bit worse culture shock, I would say, than I have had up to this point. It's like someone's kind of, you're standing on a chair and someone's kicked your chair or something, and you're kind of trying to regain the balance again, and that's kind of how I feel. But couple that we've not been feeling very well, I've been feeling a wee bit sorry for myself the last week or so. So I'm really glad to have something to look forward to this weekend with Chris, and going away for the weekend and have something nice to kind of celebrate and all that, because it is really quite strange. Sometimes with culture shock it does kind of knock you. So yeah, it's nice as well coming home and being with somebody who immediately understands like the kind of situation you could be in, and like understands your cultural perspective, because I think that makes you feel less isolated, because you're like, oh okay, yeah, it's just that we're seeing this differently because we're from a certain cultural background that's different from the culture we live in. So it's all part of being an immigrant, and it's all part of living abroad and living in a culture which is quite different in certain senses. But overall I do genuinely find Icelandic culture not hugely dissimilar, and because I think I did quite a lot of research about Icelandic culture, and I've done quite a lot of reading and things to try and understand, I often can understand why something is happening, which negates the kind of culture shock part, which would naturally set in, I think, if you were put in that situation not understanding it. So yeah, that's definitely helpful. But yeah, that was a long-winded ramble. But yeah, so I hopefully will be vlogging some of my weekend away. I have no idea what we're doing or where we're going, so I'm very excited. But yeah, hopefully I can insert some clips of my birthday celebrations and my weekend away. And if I manage to finish my 600-page beast of a book, then I will be rolling my next roll for Bookoplathon. So that's what to expect for the rest of this vlog, I think. Okay, pals, so it's actually been quite a while since I last checked in, at least a week, probably more. I have just not really been reading, to be honest, and that's why I didn't really film an update, because I felt like I wanted to kind of round off the vlog at some point, and I didn't want to kind of not round it off on a book, if that makes sense. And Life After Life took me quite a long time to read, by my kind of standards, I guess. Maybe because it's a bigger book, I should have kind of allowed myself more kind of time to think that it would actually take me a little bit longer than usual. But I just kind of, yeah, it took me a little bit longer than maybe other titles would. I thought it was, well, I should say to begin with, in my last clip, I'm sure I said, one, I'm going to show you some clips from my birthday, so I will do that just now. I actually ended up going to a town called Vik in the south of Iceland, and we went ziplining, which was really cool, and just a really beautiful experience being out in the Icelandic nature. We had nice food, just a very relaxing time. I was very tired that weekend, and I think it's probably just because I started this new job not too long ago, and still settling in, still learning a lot and stuff like that. So I think I was probably just tired from that, but did a lot of sleeping and resting. But yeah, it was really beautiful. And the place that we stayed, we were looking out onto the sea stacks, which are like quite a kind of icon of Iceland. So it was gorgeous. It was really, really nice. I also said I would tell you what book Chris got me for my birthday that hadn't arrived by that point, because I remember that was something I was chatting about, and probably it's not that long ago for you, but it's a good 10 days or something ago for me. But anyway, the book that he got me as a surprise for my birthday, which I was very excited about, is called The Far Traveller, and it's by Nancy Marie Brown. And like, I have never heard of this book, which is brilliant. This is what I love when people buy me books, because they kind of find something that you've never heard of or something like that. But this is really, really interesting. It says 500 years before Columbus, a Viking woman called Gudrid, which I think must be misspelled. It's kind of spelled in the anglicised way, but it sounds like it should have an ith in it. But anyway, sailed off the edge of the known world. She landed in the New World and lived there for 3 years, giving birth to a baby before sailing home, or so the Icelandic sagas say. And anyway, Nancy Marie Brown does some research into this Viking voyager, and this is her finding. So this is a story that she's telling about this woman, which I just think is really fascinating, and I'm really looking forward to finding out about this woman's journey. And like, you know, we think of that period of time of like women being actually quite oppressed and having a difficult life, and yet here's this Viking woman sailing across the world. Like, epic, love it. Let's see what happens. So yeah, I'm really excited about this, and just so impressed that he found it. And like, yeah, he must have done a lot of research to come across this title. And yeah, hopefully when I read it, I can recommend it to you. Hopefully it's a really nice book. It seems quite like scientific, rather than like a kind of story of like I'm thinking of like the Sealwoman's Gift, which is more of like a fictionalized account. This seems more kind of sciencey and research based, and from the perspective of the researcher. But let's find out. It'll be interesting. I'm really looking forward to that though. So that was my birthday present from Chris. But I also said I was going to tell you about Life After Life. So in the end, I have to say I was a little bit, well, quite a bit disappointed by it. I thought it was quite boring, to be honest, by the end. Like, I was really, really loving it in the beginning. Like, I was really enjoying finding out where she might go, what she might do. And there's this kind of first kind of prologue bit which gives you a snapshot of something that happens later in the book. And I just thought, this is going to be fascinating, and this person's going to have such a fascinating life. And the reality was that the build up to that fascinating part just wasn't really built properly. Like, it felt like it was just kind of stuck on the end, like it's something that the author wanted to play with but wasn't fully really developed, and like her character wasn't really, like, why did she end up there? It wasn't really explained. Either that or I zoned out in boredom from that at that point. But yeah, it wasn't really doing it for me. I love the idea of the fate thing and like what happens and like what possibilities could happen in your life. There are like content warnings definitely for like domestic violence, sexual violence, quite graphic and on page, so be aware of that going in. But yeah, I thought it was good, and like I can see that Kate Atkinson is a good writer and like can construct sentences really nicely and like make nice descriptions and things. But I found this, and I didn't even realise I've read another Kate Atkinson until I was some way into this, and the themes started to feel familiar. I read Transcription, I think it's called, by Kate Atkinson, and again I found I was bored. I find that she lacks the ability, or this is maybe a bit of a strong message, but in the 2 books that I've read from Kate Atkinson, I found a lacking in character development, and I found a lacking in plot, really. But mostly it's character that I feel like she kind of isn't as strong on, and I found that quite disappointing. So yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing read, and it's actually been, I've only read that and the audiobook that I was reading at the start of this vlog this whole month. I haven't been reading much at all, and I think that if I wasn't doing the vlog I might have switched out Life After Life at a certain point, but I did want to finish the vlog, I guess, and I did want to see what the book would be like in the end, so I'm glad I did it. But yeah, it didn't really do wonders for my reading life. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I read next. I think I will just choose on the fly rather than choosing Bookoplathon for the rest of the month. There isn't much left in the month now, so I'll just kind of read as my mood dictates. But yeah, I will wrap up this vlog now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you've been reading, and if you took part in Bookoplathon, I'd love to hear how you got on with the board game and if you picked up some good books through that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video.